Hey guys, and today I am going to be reviewing the Motorola XOOM in 2023. Yes, I'm using OmniROM, it's KitKat. So first, we're going to test sunlight conditions and how bright the display is. So, as you can see, it doesn't do really well in bright sunlight. I don't think I had the brightness all the way up. Yeah, I don't, but when I turn it all the way up, you can see it a little bit better in sunlight. The sun's out. It's like 11 or something like that. Now, as you can see, you can see the screen just fine. It works perfectly. You can still navigate through settings like you normally would. You can still do a bunch of other stuff. You can still see the screen. It's just when it's pointed directly at the sun is where it starts to just get really dark and dim, so you can't really see it properly. Now, the Motorola XOOM has a 720p 1280 by 100 10-inch display. Now, by today's standards, that might seem like a little bit of a low resolution, but for its time, it was actually really good. Like, it used to be, like, basically, when it's trying to beat the iPad, the only thing that I think that doesn't perform that well is the LCD, the IPS display. I think it was No, this is a TFT, never mind. I think what doesn't perform well is the TFT display. It's just that the colors are really washed out on it. And I don't know, something about, like, the freaking, what do you call it? Something about the pixel density and a bunch of other stuff that's just really is not that great. It just seems really washed out and other things. It's still great for daily use. I mean, you can still kind of use it depending on if you got the Google Play Store on there, which I do have the Google Play Store on there. It's just that it doesn't work right, if you can see that. But yeah, it does work and you can use it. Now, the version I upgraded the XOOM to is Android 4.4.4 KitKat. And for today, it's still a usable version and you can use it. It's just that it needs to be on a high-spec phone or tablet, and even though it's called Project Seville and it's meant for devices with under 512 megabytes of RAM, the 718 megs of RAM on this, it just doesn't par well with this at all. You can overclock it if we go into the settings and go into performance, and then we we drag this slider up and down. You can underclock and overclock. So if you want to underclock, you can save battery, and if you want to overclock, you can basically use it for performance. Now, I did get the Verizon version of the XOOM, which means updates aren't directly from Google. Instead, they're directly from Motorola. Well, at least for the international version, which I do have, and it's actually right here. So, if we flip the tablet on its back, you'll see that it does say 3G. If the camera would focus, it does say 3G and has Bluetooth. This is the international version, so updates are directly from Verizon instead, and you know how slow Verizon is with their updates. Calling out on you, Galaxy Nexus. Well, the Verizon version of the Galaxy Nexus. Now, what I really like about the 3G version is that it saved me some money, and I can still use it. Except it's more usable on Ice Cream Sandwich than it is on KitKat. That's the only thing I found, like, pretty strange on this tablet. Now, the torch on this tablet is pretty bright. You can, if the app would launch, so if we turn it on, you could, if it would, okay, it's on. So as you can see, the torch is now on. It looks yellowed, but that's only because of age. This was released in 2011, so you know how that would be. But if we're in like a dark area or something, it works really well. It's just that I'm outside, and of course it's not going to work. I'm outside. The sunlight's pointing directly at me. And of course, the XOOM was the first tablet to introduce Android's tablet UI, why is my autofocus? And of course, the Motorola Xoom was the first Android tablet to introduce the tablet UI, which was released in Honeycomb, all the way up to Jelly Bean 4.1.2, and got somewhat eradicated in 4.2, but it was you could still like enable it, but in KitKat it was completely removed, which is what I'm on right now, and that's what root and Tablet Cat is for. But yeah, you can still root this tablet, you can still enable Tablet Cat, you can do all of those things. Now in a retrospective, this tablet in 2023 is not really great. It doesn't have good specs. Let me list about the specs really quick actually. So, this tablet has a 1 gigahertz Tegra 2 T20 CPU, and I think a Mali 400 GPU running at like 453 megahertz, I think. And 1 gig of RAM, which is actually 718 megabytes if you count what OmniROM and Cyanogen says. Now let's talk about photo quality. Now, if you didn't already know, I made a video about why I consider the Motorola Xoom to be a Nexus. But in that video, I actually compared the photo quality. But now that I'm doing it on its own, we can see the photo quality in real time. So like, let me take a picture really quick. So as you can see, of course it's not gonna work. It's freaking bright as heck out here. Let me turn on immersive mode just so you can see it better. Bam! Immersive on. And as you can see, photo quality is pretty good. You can zoom in. It's kind of grainy when you actually zoom into the photo. But other than that, the entire photo looks really nice. And I honestly, if you're just taking photos at max quality on a 5 megapixel HD video camera, then I guess you could use it, as long as you don't care about bad photo quality or grainy images. Now, another thing about this tablet, like I said earlier, the GPU is only 453 megahertz. So for example, if you go into developer options, and you scroll down to disable hardware overlays and force GPU rendering, it's going to be pretty slow, so you might want to turn that off by default if you don't want your tablet to lag as much. But if your GPU is fast enough and it's actually a bit faster than your CPU, then I guess you could toggle it on. Now let's talk about the make and design of this tablet. Now, for its time, it seemed really revolutionary. With its extreme screen to body ratio, mostly the entire front is just a screen, except for the camera, the Motorola logo, and the Verizon logo if you have the Verizon ones. Now, there's also a notification light over here. You can't really see it in the camera from what I seeing on my camera, but it's right there, and it tells you if your tablet is off if you get a notification. And there's a little LED light down there. That's actually the charging light. That's what's used to indicate if your tablet's fully charged. So it turns green if it's fully charged, and if it's not fully charged, it's white. Now, the back of the tablet looks really nice in my opinion. I honestly think it's one of the best designs in all tablet history. So like, I think this is actually the inspiration from the Galaxy Tab's design. The Galaxy Tab S8, I think. So you got the little camera power speaker and flashlight bar over here, and then you got another speaker right here. And there's a soft touch aluminum that feels really nice, including this normal aluminum that also feels nice in the hand when you're holding it, as a normal tablet. And if we go down to the bottom, you can see the FCC ID, the little indicators saying if it has 3G, 4G, and the little indicator saying Bluetooth, that it has Bluetooth. And back then, it was with Google. So basically, instead of being just Google, it was actually with Google. So that means that the Google apps that were installed on there were just with Google. They weren't by Google. And the Verizon logo twice on here is actually kind of annoying, not gonna lie, just saying. And at the bottom, you can kind of see a microphone right there.
Good morning.
Good morning, you two. There's this little microphone hole. I think there's also one at the top. Yeah, I think, no, there isn't. Never mind. So there's the ports down here. You get your mini HDMI port. You get your micro USB port to transfer files, not to charge it like your traditional micro USB. Get your little screws to unscrew the back. You got your charging port, which charges the tablet. Yes, it uses AC/DC adapter. That's how old this thing is. And you got a little dock connector here. So if you have like a special Motorola Zoom dock, you can connect it from that. And at the top, you have a headphone, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which most phones don't have today. An SD and SIM card slot for, well, yeah. And if you have the Wi-Fi only version, then it's just an SD card slot. So we're gonna put that back in there really quick. At the side, you got your volume buttons, your two little volume buttons, and that's about it for the body and the material. Now, honestly, this is my final, so my final conclusion on this tablet is that it's old, 2011 old. It's kind of usable in 2023. I mean, if you just want to use it as like a device to play Angry Birds Rio, normal Angry Birds, or Fruit and John, then yeah, go ahead, you can do that. If you want to use it as a camera, I would probably judge you, not gonna lie, I'm just saying. And if you want to use it as a calling device or a texting device, if you still have service on it, then go ahead, do you. And in retrospective, I think this was the most revolutionary tablet on the market back in 2011. And I think if Motorola made a Motorola Zoom 3 in 2023 or 2024, I think it would be the most high-spec tablet on the market if they could use the new NVIDIA Tegras, like the new Tegra chips. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Yes, I'm copying someone else's outro, but who cares? It's my video. I can do what I want. Peace out.